Scott from Wellsford Heritage Farm here. We're a week in from making our salami, and I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on how we make it, the process, the ingredients we use, and a bit of the process of aftercare once we have it hanging in the meat room drying out. This year we used a castrated boar, which is what we usually use. He was 133 kilos, about 7 months old, might be 8 months old. Once boned out and trimmed to the way we have it, we ended up with about 63, 64 kilos of meat. So I'll just go through and give you a bit of a rundown on the products we use in our salami, the skins, and a little bit on what we do afterwards. So to give you an idea, these are just a few of the products we use. That's garlic powder, paprika, coarse ground black pepper. That jar was full of homegrown chilies that were dehydrated and blended up in the blender. We just use normal sacks of cooking salt. The skinnier salamis we make in a collagen casing, and that's a dehydrated natural skin. It's a made product out of natural casings, but dehydrated and made into what they call a bung. Have a look at the salamis. So they're the collagen ones, these ones here, the skinny ones. And these are the bungs, the short, fatter ones. Now, when we mix the salami, we use 28 grams of salt per kilo. So that's a non-negotiable. We have to use that much. That's what helps preserve it and keeps your bacteria down. Got to make sure you're very clean whilst you're doing it. Keep your hands washed, keep everything nice and safe. The least amount of water you have near your meat, the better. Water carries bacteria really well. But the rest of these products, it's really down to your own taste, how you want them. We do a garlic version, which had 20 kilos of meat. We had, 5 jars of garlic powder, 2.5 jars of paprika, as much black pepper as you like. It's one of those things, you either love it or you hate it. And about a quarter of that jar of dried chilies. So that's not real hot. Our hot version had probably 2/3 of that jar of chili, 1 jar of garlic, 2.5 jars of paprika, and a fair bit of black pepper. Hopefully it's not too hot. We always fry a little bit of the meat, just like a little patty, and just to taste it to see if we like how it tastes first. That's a little sausage filler. That's what we use to fill our sausages. Once you get used to using one, they're not too bad. It only holds, I think, 4 kilos, 4.5 kilos. So you have to refill it a few times, but it's pretty good. You do a full skin with one. We can do 3 of these long ones, and they are pretty long or about 5 of these shorter fat ones. We use a little thing. Looks pretty nasty, but it's what they call a spiker. So that gets all the moisture out. We go along, we spike every one. Just basically like that. Spike all up and down them. Once they're set for a day, I'll go through and spike them all, and that just lets them slowly dry. This year we did some in just normal sausage skins. They're a week in and they're nearly ready to cry back. They're not too bad. Everything's drying really well here this year. We haven't had any rain, so since we've done them, so you don't want humidity too high. Now they'll hang there for about 8 weeks until I think they're dry enough. You will get some mould on them. These haven't got any mould on them at the moment. If they get too much mould on them, I'll go through with a mixture of 50-50 vinegar and water and wipe over them with a damp cloth, wipe the mould off. I don't like seeing too much mould on them. And it'll only be white mould if it goes green or black. It's not good. So at this stage they're going along pretty well. So what I'm doing here now is putting cable ties on all the bigger salamis. So I go through, put a cable tie around them, make it nice and tight. I can get a fair bit of pressure on these at the minute. You don't want to bust the skins, so you just tighten it up as much as you feel confident with it. What this does is just helps with the drying consistency and stops the air pockets inside. Doesn't stop them, but it just reduces them a bit. So I'll put it on all of these bigger ones for now, and then I'll see how the other ones go. They feel pretty good at the minute. If I feel I have to, if the outside's drying too quick, sometimes it pays to put them on the skinnier ones too. You want it to dry as even as possible. When we do run the meat through the mincer, we only run it through once. We use a plate with about, I think it's a number 8 plate, so fairly decent sort of holes. You only run it through once. Mix it all by hand in a tub, all the meat, put all your ingredients in, mix it by hand, and then some people leave it overnight. We usually mix it up, leave it for a few hours while we have lunch before we fill it, and then we fill them out and away you go. As the salami progresses in the next few weeks, I'll give you an update. If there's any mould that forms on them, I'll do another little update and show you what I do to reduce that. When we like to keep the humidity between 60 and 70 on the humidity meter. I've got a little humidity meter in here, and it's a temperature gauge as well. The temperature gauge doesn't work too well, but it's got a humidity meter down the bottom here. So I usually keep it between 60 and 70. I like to keep a little bit of airflow in here. So I turn the fan. I have a little pedestal fan that I turn on and just leave running on the days that get a little bit too warm. But we've been pretty lucky. The temperature's been pretty constant here for the last week. We haven't had rain, haven't had a lot of rain, if any, since we've done it. And the temperature's been pretty good. Nice frosty mornings. The meat room stays pretty well around between 10 and 13 degrees at this time of the year, which is pretty good for this. As long as you keep the air circulating through, they should mature quite well. All the skins, the collagen skins and the naturally made bungs, we soak in wine, a good quality red wine, before we fill them, just to rehydrate them a bit, and just to make them a little bit more supple when we do them. When they first start off, they're real papery and hard. So if if you soak them in wine a little bit first, not for long because you don't want them that soft that they break when you fill them. And it just gives it a little bit different flavour too. Just something extra. But it's got to be a good quality wine. Don't go and buy cheap stuff. Buy something that you'll drink if you're going to drink it. If you like drinking red wine. If you don't, ask for something that's nice. That's about it. I'll give you a bit of an update as the weeks progress on how they're drying and whether I end up putting cable ties on these longer ones. Not really sure yet. They're drying pretty well at the moment, but I still might put cable ties on them later on. And that's about it for today, I think. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll give you an update on these little sausage type ones. They're just in a normal sausage skin that we'd make normal sausages out of. We usually make some of them just so we can eat it a bit quicker. This stuff, we'll hang it for 8 weeks and then cryovac it. Probably be another 8 weeks after that before we start drying it. This stuff here, a couple of weeks time it'll be ready to eat. So it gives us something to look forward to as we go. I'll keep you posted on how it's going. Thank you very much.